For the past 2 weeks, the world hasn't just been watching the Middle East. It's been feeling it. Stock markets have started to slide. Oil and gas prices have surged to record highs. Air travel has grown uncertain, with rerouted flights. What once felt like a geopolitical news has now begun to affect our everyday life. And all of it traces back to 3 powerful nations. 2 allies, the United States and Israel, facing one regional power, Iran. This is the story we've been hearing across news channels and social media. But beneath all the breaking news and political statements, there's a deeper question in everyone's mind. How did a diplomatic standoff escalate into a full-blown war? Because conflicts of this scale don't erupt from a single speech or one failed negotiation. They grow from years of tension, mistrust, strategic rivalry, and unresolved disputes, until one moment that finally pushes everything over the edge. And to understand how we reached this point, let's head back to the early 2000s and begin with our first R of this conflict. Chapter 1: The Roots. Like many nations that had signed the NPT agreement, Iran was also pursuing nuclear energy. What is the NPT? It stands for the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, with 2 simple principles. First, countries are allowed to develop nuclear technology for peaceful civilian purposes, like power generation, medical research, and scientific advancement, but not for weapons. Second, every nuclear activity must be reported to the International Atomic Energy Agency, also known as the IAEA. So what exactly is the IAEA? Think of it as the international police for nuclear activity. It helps countries develop nuclear energy, but also conducts inspections to prevent misuse. In the early 2000s, Iran, like many other nations, was expanding its nuclear capabilities. On the surface, everything appeared technical, procedural, routine. But then, in 2002, everything changed. An Iranian opposition group made a public revelation: 2 previously undisclosed nuclear facilities. One was an underground site at Natanz, designed for uranium enrichment. The other was near the city of Arak, a heavy water project capable of eventually producing plutonium. Within hours, satellite images began circulating, and within days, governments around the world were demanding answers. The United States and Israel viewed it from security lens, while European governments pushed for clarification and inspections rather than confrontation. Because in nuclear diplomacy, transparency is everything. In 2003, the IAEA intensified inspections, and inspectors discovered evidence of previously undisclosed uranium enrichment activity at Natanz. Iran responded that these omissions were administrative errors and not deliberate concealment. But suspicion had entered the room. Pressure began mounting to refer Iran to the United Nations Security Council. Before that happened, 3 European nations stepped forward. Britain, France, and Germany, together known as the EU3, proposed a temporary arrangement where Iran would voluntarily suspend uranium enrichment while negotiations continued toward a long-term agreement. In 2004, Iran agreed, and this was referred as Paris Agreement. And for a moment, the crisis appeared contained. Sorry to interrupt, but do let us know in comments if you liked this detailed style of explanation or you prefer a shorter version. This helps to improve the next chapter. Thanks, and back to the video. While the long-term negotiations with Europe were still technically alive, but the mood had shifted from optimism to growing frustration. Then in 2005, the new president of Iran, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, came to power. Unlike previous leader who was diplomatic, Ahmadinejad was assertive of Iran's nuclear right and resumed nuclear activity. European diplomats tried to negotiate, but Iran insisted enrichment was non-negotiable, while Western powers insisted suspension was essential. But by 2006, trust reached breaking point, and IAEA finally referred Iran to UN Security Council. That move transformed the dispute from a regional diplomatic challenge into a matter of international security. UN formally demanded that Iran suspend enrichment, but Iran refused. This led to first round of sanctions, which carried economic consequences, like Iran's assets were frozen. Technology transfers were restricted. Financial networks were scrutinized. Again, in 2007-2008, the economic pressure further intensified with additional sanctions from UN along with individual sanctions from US and European nations on banking and international market access. Meanwhile, in spite of sanctions, Iran continued its progress on nuclear enrichment activity all these years. Shocking the world in 2009, Iran made a public revelation of new nuclear facility near the city of Qom. The Fordow nuclear facility, built inside a mountain and designed to survive military strikes. By end of 2009, no open war had begun, but the architecture of conflict was in place. If the first chapter felt interesting, do like and subscribe for upcoming chapter 2. The Rivals.